I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Jonny Smith.
And this is On the Other Side of Things, the Smith and Sniff spin-off in which we answer your questions. Yes, we're back for a Friday with more of your questions to be answered or near offer.
Yeah. ONO, Otosot.
Yes. I started a completely random one from a listener called Ashley, who is also a Patreon, which has nothing to do with cars, but he says, I've just got into watches and I'm saving up for an Omega Seamaster for my 40th. Bought a couple of vintage watches in the last few weeks, an Omega Seamaster and a rare Casio AQ231. Richard mentioned you sold some watches in the past, wondered what your watch of choice was.
Okay, so I sold a watch that was a Hanhart, which I miss dearly.
Oh, yeah.
And it was called the Desert Primus, or the Primus Desert, I think. Desert,
okay.
And the Primus range, there's like 4 different colourways and stuff. But the Hanhart was really beautifully made, and the Desert Primus, I think the one I had a sand-coloured face and a sand-coloured strap, because most of the ones that people buy have got like an olive army spec.
Yeah, it's a handsome piece.
Yeah, it is, and I really missed that watch, so I got rid of that. And I got rid of, what was another one that I really liked? I think it was an Aquastar, which I'm going to buy another one. I'm going to buy another one back because I missed that one as well. And they're watches that aren't really well known, like Omega and Rolex and Tag and all those ones. But those are what's good about those is if you're interested in build quality and feel, they have a really nice feel to them. They're just not as well known.
Yeah,
but
I used to have a Sin.
Yes.
144.
Yes.
It's a beautiful watch.
Did you sell that?
Yeah, I did.
Do you regret it?
Well, this is the thing. So I think I had a bit of a watch collecting problem.
Yeah.
And I used to buy and mostly not sell watches. And it was getting a bit out of hand. And then I just started wearing an Apple Watch more and more because I found it had great utility to it, just in terms of fitness monitoring. And then when I upgraded to the Apple Watch Ultra, and it's got such a good battery, you can wear it while you sleep.
Yeah.
So I do sleep tracking with it, and then, it sort of pings me to remind me to,
brush my teeth
and things like that. We're more likely to pick the kids up from places and stuff like that. And I find it generally useful, and it was actually weirdly liberating because I used to spend a bit too much time also reading watch forums and things like that. And there's some, car people are a broad church.
Yeah.
But I think there's a higher percentage of insufferable pricks on watch forums and people who are so snobbish about things.
There is.
It's exhausting. And
you've had a sabbatical from it.
Exactly. To be able to detach myself from that addiction was actually quite liberating. So I just wear an Apple Watch Ultra all the time now, but I still have quite a few watches in a box. I've sold the Sin, sold the first sort of inverted commas nice vintage watch I ever bought, which was an Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark III, the one that's got a big, thick case. It's kind of, if you're an Omega nerd, like a Flightmaster case or similar. So that I sold that, which was a beautiful watch.
I was going to say, it was a beautiful watch.
1973, it came with, watch bores always say, box and papers is a thing. It's essentially papers as in paperwork, and it had the guarantee certificates, which showed that it was bought new in Brussels, I think, on Christmas Eve, 1973.
Oh.
And I always imagine the backstory to that, what it would have been. Was it a present? Did someone, were they feeling a bit miserable before Christmas, decide to treat themselves?
Yeah, on the way back from work.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
But just go, either way, I just think it was a lovely thing. I've still got a Speedmaster Mark II, an original 69 with a racing dial, but not like the reissued ones because the racing bit has all faded, which I think is really lovely.
Yeah.
And I've got quite an unusual Seamaster one. Oh shit, what is it now? Which is actually quite rare. I didn't realise how rare it is. I probably just need to sell that because it's it's a nice thing, but I don't.
You've got weight. I mean, I've never bought expensive.
Yeah,
watches.
but I bought a lot of those Omegas when they weren't as expensive, and then they went a bit silly. They've now come down again. I really should have sold them at the peak of when everyone was getting a bit giddy. And then I tweeted myself. Because it was, again, I thought it was quite a keen price. I bought an old Rolex Air King 65, which is on a little black leather strap, so I wear that as a dress watch. It's nice.
I think my 2025 New Year's resolution, Well, there's several. Some of them are genuinely useful. This one isn't. I think I'm going to get more into watches again.
Are you? I've got some. Do you want to buy some watches?
I've had
the other one.
5-year break, really. I sold those ones and I kind of weaned myself off a bit like you. And I just wore the same 2 watches.
The other one that was a bit of a weakness of mine, and I've still got quite a few of them, is vintage Seikos, 70s Seikos.
How many have you got?
Of Seikos? Oh, I did sell a couple, but I've got a bullhead, which is one of the was the first ones that sort of became a bit collectible. So it's a Macombo year bullhead. And I've got a Navitimer, which is lovely. It rattles. It's a really janky, and it doesn't keep brilliant time, but it's a weird thing to say, but it's got real character to it.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favourite watches, and that was like 80 quid when I bought it, and they're now worth a bit more. But I mean, this one's not in great nick, but it's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
And what else have I got? You know the ones they always call the Pogue because like astronaut guy wore one. I've got one of those, but not the yellow face. I've got a silver face one of those.
Yeah,
which again is a lovely thing.
I'm going to buy a Swatch. I'm going to buy a Swatch soon.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to buy one of those Swatch Omega.
The moon watches. Yeah. I know a few people who bought those, and I tried one on, and it did feel quite light and sort of flimsy to me, but they're handsome things. Yeah.
Well, we will, if you want us to, we'll talk about watches again another day.
Sorry, I know it's one of those things that I always feel like it's bad enough that we go on about cars sometimes. I don't want to become an absolutely classic, boring man, but it may be too late for that.
Don't you worry about that.
Well, then we'll do whiskey and
no, I won't do whiskey.
Yeah, you won't.
I'll do cider.
I mean, actually, I know fuck all about whiskey except that I like the taste of it. So.
I've got a letter here from a guy called Rich, who's not you.
Okay. Good.
Well, I don't think he is. You might have doctored the inbox.
It's the whiskey. I've started writing into my own podcast.
It says, as Jonny is a Miami Vice expert, by the way, I'm not. I just liked it for a long time. I wonder if he knew if this was true. I was out with friends who were in the TV business the other week, and one of them told me that Ferrari was so upset about the fake Daytona that they'd agreed to supply a new Testarossa for season 2. I don't think it was season 2. I think it was season 3 or 4. Ooh. Of the show, if the Daytona was blown up on the show. Do you know if this is the case? Many thanks for a great show, etc., 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 Rich. I am sure that is true. I know Ferrari were cross that a faux Ferrari was being used, and I know that they did supply the Testarossa, which was obviously new then.
Yeah.
But I don't know the ins and outs beyond that. I think that they did say blow up the fake one so we can say that's gone now, closure.
But in return you get 2 identical. But you told me that it was they sold them, or they gave them a black car, 2 black cars, and then they went, oh shit, we do most of this at night. They'll be lost, and they repainted them white. Yeah,
I'm sure. So the original fake Daytona was black. So all the original Miami Vice filming was that car, mostly lots of at night stuff, atmospheric street lights and things. But Michael Mann, the director, was like, well, it's just a pain in the arse shooting a black car. I mean, it looks cool, but it's probably just really difficult. So when they supplied 2 black Testarossas, like FFS, can I have these in white? And they went, well, we've given them to you now.
Can you imagine? They said, we give you 2 cars, they're brand new, he's only just come out, they're beautiful cars, and you have 2. And he went, I don't like them.
Yeah, they're black.
I want white ones, please.
I want white ones. So I don't know if Ferrari painted them, but he had them painted, and thus the iconic white Ferrari Testicle Rossa was born.
Could you go back and watch an episode though and see if when they open the doors, if the door shuts are still black? It was like a really shit blowover. It
was a Hollywood makeover. In water soluble paint.
At some point, I don't know when this was, maybe this was later, did Don Johnson not get given a Testarossa as well by Ferrari because they liked the show so much?
Well, of course it sold numerous Testarossas. In fact, it probably made the Testarossa as famous as it is now, right? I mean, it was a great car in its own right, and it did lots of other things. But I think that imagery around Don Johnson and Tubbs with the kind of Italian sharp suits and billowing legwear going on. So I think they did. I reckon it came up for sale in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh,
I think that Don Johnson's own Ferrari did come up for auction.
wow.
Because I thought to myself that would be almost more interesting than the screen car for some reason. Because
Yeah.
or whether it was like, thanks, mate, and he never drove it. He just thought, it's too cliche. I can't be that guy. Oh, look, it's Don Johnson actually in a Testarossa.
He just gave it to Melanie Griffith for, like, popping out, just doing local errands.
Yeah,
and things.
just go to 7-Eleven in it.
By Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ferrari, because did Don Johnson get one because Enzo Ferrari himself was a fan, I wonder, or is that just, I don't know.
Well,
I'm speculating. However, this just reminded me of something. A friend of ours, Keith Jones, the excellent car journalist, Keith Jones, sent me a cutting from the 15th of April 1978 edition of Autocar.
Bloody hell.
It's a spy photo of Enzo Ferrari himself trying out a new model at his Fiorano test track. But it's not one of his own cars. He's having a little sneak preview of
The SD1?
Fiat Strada.
Really?
Yeah. Or Ritmo, as it was known.
The Ritmo.
Yeah. But they've got a spy picture of Enzo Ferrari driving a Fiat Strada prototype. It's like, how weird
Yeah.
that, A, he'd be interested. Because you always think he was a real racing car man, really.
Yeah, he's probably
road
quite a car
coaster.
snob, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But also that Fiat, it's like Fiat sort of like, oh, we need the blessing. It's like, do you? I don't know. Who knows what was going on
I think
there,
he
but
probably
it's fantastic.
said, it's not bad, but the door handles are superb.
Yeah, yes.
That would have been one of his synopsis.
Go back into his design studio or into Pininfarina and going, circular, everything circular from now on.
Love the circular door handles.
We have an email here from a listener called Pete Ollier. He's asking for suggestions for the best cheap, brackets, sub £2,000, insurable, but not shit learner car for teenagers. Our children, twins, are currently learning to drive, so the clock is ticking. I suspect you'll say K11 Micro. Oh, Pete, you know us. But is there something more left field?
How much money did he say he's got?
Sub 2,000. He says a Corsa was discussed, and their reply was the same as when as Partridge when Lynn asked him to drive a Rover 100. I'm not driving a Mini Metro. I'm not driving a Mini Metro. I'm not driving a Mini Metro. Only using Corsa instead. So okay, that rules that out. But yeah, so he's asking for something left field now.
Left field.
I had a very left field thought, and I don't know if it's in budget, and it's something I've mentioned a few times. Sometimes in the context of them having a well-known engine flaw, which is the Mark III MRT.
As a first car?
Well, do you think the insurance would be prohibitive?
Well, I think the only rear-wheel drive first car that you could afford is probably an MX-5, and that's because there's so many young people, and there's probably enough specialist insurers now who go, yeah, these aren't rocket ships.
Why did you just stand up?
I've got a Toit calves.
Okay.
And I needed to do a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
So if it sounds different on the microphone,
Yeah,
I've just
Johnny just sort of got further away because he literally did on account of standing up.
I think Suzuki Swift is a good call.
Oh, yes.
Because you can get an older one, and basically the older ones are cooler.
Yeah.
And they're easier to service. And I don't know whether or not it's too old for you, but a Daihatsu Charade, they did
They're not quite old, aren't they?
early 20 odd years
What
old.
are all those bubble-roofed Mazda 121s?
Oh.
I don't know. Pete doesn't say whether his twins are boys, girls, or a mixture.
Yeah. Suzuki Ignis?
Yeah.
I mean, I like them. They're well made as well. And there's something.
The insurance thing's always tricky, isn't it? Because you could just go. I don't know what Toyota Serras are down to now, if you can find one.
$3,000.
Because they're definitely left field.
Yeah, they're boring to drive though.
Well, that's okay, because that would be maybe that's all right.
I think they suffer from the DeLoreanitis, where it's all about looks.
It's all about the doors,
and you just go beyond that. You just put it in D.
I don't know. I mean. It's also, I suspect that a teenager's idea of left field and interesting is not the same as two middle-aged men, because I was going to say, I don't know, get an old Volvo 340 or something like that.
Well,
retro.
Yeah.
Teenagers like retro shit.
Yeah, they do. I would say look for just over 20 years old, 25 years old stuff. You could get a Clio Mark II. You know, and that might be quite interesting.
I mean, they're quite nice, aren't they? They're quite nice to drive.
They are nice.
If there's any left.
If there's
probably a bit frigged, aren't they? But anyway.
Yeah. Fiat Panda.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like non 4x4.
Or even 4x4, maybe that's cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're floundering in the dark here. No idea.
But there's, but there,
whatever it is, make a TikTok of it, and then teenagers will love it.
that's right, mate. Yeah.
That's how it works.
So I've got a letter from Sweden. Guys, I wonder if you would mind giving us your top 5 classic vintage cars out of Sweden. I'm a proud owner of a sweet 1971 Volvo 142. I fittingly named him Johnny's with an apostrophe S after the best brand of mustard over here. I'm assuming it's mustard coloured, or maybe not.
Johnny's mustard.
So best wishes, Magnus from Malmo, Sweden.
Magnus has in fact attached a picture of his
Gosh, I
Ring
bet it
42,
looks-
and it is mustard.
Oh, it is mustard. God,
And
that's
it's
clean.
a 2-door as well. It's very tidy.
And has it got wipers on the lights?
Actually, it's hard to tell. No, I don't think it has.
They're so good.
No, I
those
don't think it
cars.
has, but it's...
Okay, good
top
question.
5 classic vintage cars out of Sweden. Well, I mean, he's sort of answered his own question a bit there, because I do like those. I like the 142 because of the fact that it's the lesser spotted 2.
2-door. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fond of the Volvo 240 Torslander, the
Of course.
last edition.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But I need to throw in there a Volvo 780 Bertoni.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Because I've owned a Volvo 242 Bertoni.
Yeah.
And that is a bit ABBA. And it looks awkward. Whereas the 780 Bertoni doesn't look awkward, I don't think.
See, the thing with the 262 is that I didn't like them at all for the way they look, and also just thought they're a bit ridiculous as a concept because it's a hefty old Volvo. Still trying to be sporty.
Yeah.
But then I found out David Bowie owned one rather.
Yes.
And that changed everything.
Oh, so now you've forgiven
Yeah,
it.
now I like them.
You wrote a book about shit cars and
And
put
it
it
was
on
on
the
the
cover.
front, I know.
You bad bastard.
Do you know that book got translated into Swedish? And one of the things that the Swedish publisher requested was we want to change the cover photo.
So it'll sell.
And no, because they changed it to a different Volvo.
Oh, really?
They changed it to the 340. And I don't know whether the book was called, I think, Samstag Bilar. Forgive me, Swedes, if
Which
I'm
is like
mispronouncing
rubbish
that. But I think
cars.
it means shit cars, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But it's almost like they went, no, 262 is not the worst Volvo. This is the worst Volvo. Or maybe it's because it's not a Swedish Volvo. It's a Dutch Volvo.
yeah,
so
no,
they
just
went,
bring
let's stick it to those Dutch bastards.
Yeah.
And so, Samstag Bilar, which I have a copy of somewhere, has a Volvo 340 on the front.
Other amazing Swedish vehicles for a top 5 that are worthy of?
I mean, just for sheer sort of unusualness, I'm going to say Saab Sonnet.
Oh.
Just so random
Yeah,
and
it is,
unexpected. But also just, I mean, take your pick from
I'd like a Saab 96.
99 Turbo.
99 or a
With those
900
seats,
with the
yeah.
3 spokes.
Not the 3 spokes for me, thank you.
No,
but
you don't do the 3.
I'd have a really basic 90 with the Steelies on it. But also, what else would I have?
Are there any other, bar Volvo and Saab, was there any other?
Koenigsegg.
Oh,
But I think we can't.
But they're not vintage.
No, well, that's
or
why I think we
classic.
leave them out of this.
The very early CCR, CCX maybe,
Yeah.
but no, it's probably. So I'm thinking we've covered a few bases there.
Yeah, and then in the last podcast, you mentioned those Swedish male cars.
Oh, yes!
I know they're based on DAFs, but presumably the coach-built bodywork was Swedish.
Yeah, the Kalmar DAF,
so they-
Chorvinen or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
that would count.
Can I have one? But yeah, maybe Magnus, you can find one for me. Make it immaculate and massively cheap if that's possible.
A listener called Chris says, hello there. Any plans for more books, Richard? I've enjoyed the Boring Car Trivia series, but I'd love to read more from Roy Lanchester too. Maybe Johnny has a book in him as well.
I get asked about whether I've got a book in me. My attention span is challenging for something like writing a book. And in all seriousness, I think I've got ideas for books. I've actually talked to you about this off air and said, look, I've got a couple of ideas for books, but you'd need to do it with me. We'd have to do it as a collaborative act because you're
Stand over. You go,
you're-
no, stop looking for shit on eBay. Keep writing.
well, you're an accomplished author. You've written, I don't know, a dozen books.
No, but I've kept a list in my phone. It's about 25, something like that.
What?
Hang on.
24 books?
Yeah, no, I can never find this list because I idiotically decided to title it Books, but spelt B-U-K-S. So if I don't remember that, I'm there searching for B. Anyway, yeah, I've just found it because I remembered. 28.
Well, there we go. So loads.
That's quite a lot.
That's a lot, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, some better than others, and some absolutely top.
So I'd actually...
Hang on, I think I've left... Oh, no, I haven't. No, beg your pardon. Okay.
I'd like to do one, but I think I'd need adult supervision, and it would be it'd be a co-effort, I think.
You can tell some years when I was bored, because there's obviously a lot of like Top Gear related ones and things like that. When we used to do 2 a year, because we started doing Christmas annuals and then ones that would come out around Father's Day. But 2021, I did 2 books completely off my own back, because I did Boring Car Trivia 3, and I did that stupid Steel Flies, the fake Roy Lanchester novel, which it sold a bit more than I thought, because I hadn't checked for ages, and I looked it up and I was like, oh shit, it's like 4 figures, like not loads, but it sold. It's like, you go, oh my god. Yeah. That many people have read this toss.
Well, maybe you should rekindle.
I would love to write another one, because it was huge fun to write, but it's that question of, is this the best use of my time? Maybe instead of writing a deliberately shit novel, I could just try and write an actual novel, because I have many ideas.
I thought we could do a Smith and Sniff annual.
We did talk about it, didn't we? But it's like the amount of work. Because when I've done Christmas annuals, they've always been sort of proper publishers, and you have a whole team of designers and people working with you.
Yeah,
and
archivists, pictures.
I think I had at least one other person who wrote some of the sections on the Top Gear annuals, and because they are a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, you and me trying to cobble something together. Jesus Christ, it would be out for Christmas 2035 if we started tomorrow. But anyway, it's one to consider.
Never say never.
Never say never.
But
no, I know. But that's the thing. So hang on, looking at my list of books. When did I last do one? The last one I did was Boring Car Trivia 4, which was 2023. So I'm due.
You're due a book.
It was last year then, the first year that I didn't have a book out of some sort. I think it was.
You're too busy doing live shows on Smith and Sniff.
Stuff like that, yeah, basically. Oh, well, no, okay. So, but pretty much since 2004, I've published at least one book every year.
That's amazing.
Shit, I just realised that.
That's amazing.
Right, well,
I can't compete with that.
Get my finger out, shouldn't I? Anyway.
Yeah, I just make videos.
Well, you know.
I think I've made about 400 videos or something.
Well, that's a lot,
which
isn't it? That
makes me even more tired when I look at the list.
Oh, God. Just thought about how much work I've done has made me tired.
Yeah, seriously.
Can I just... This is a fantastically random question from a listener called Alex, who came to our live show at the Car Barn last month. He says he had a question he didn't get to ask on the night, which he was hoping would give the evening a northeastern flavour. I'd like you to imagine it is sometime between the late 80s and mid-90s, and you are both very powerful figures in the music industry, as you own Northeast Records. This is a fictional label, clearly, which it hosts all artists with links to this region. Sting, Pet Shop Boys, Dire Straits, Jimmy Nail, and many more.
Brian Ferry,
yeah. One day in the aforementioned time period, one of your artists comes to you and says they think a special edition car to be sold in limited numbers, named after them and styled in a way that's inspired by them or one of their songs, is what they want. You think this is a great idea, and because of who you are, no one, not even a car manufacturer, will say no to you. What I'd like to know is which artist came to you with the idea, what car manufacturer did you call, and please describe the end result.
Okay, so Northeast artist.
Yeah.
Of repute.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go for, and there's a reason for this. He is a known car guy, also driving home for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
I'd go Chris Rea.
Yeah, good.
Chris Rea does he not love a Ferrari and a Maserati?
Yes, he does.
Because he's had some beauties in the past.
Yeah.
So let's go Rea. And because he's constantly driving home for Christmas, but also you need a level of practicality for doing that.
Yeah.
Let's do one of those mad Brunei spec shooting brakes.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say, imagine if it was a boomerang backlight Maserati. Was it the 4200 or the...
That was 3200, but I think you've gone a bit out of period.
Oh,
because
so what period was it?
Alex's parameters are
Late
between
80s.
the late 80s and the mid 90s. So
okay.
I mean, we can push it to the late mid 90s and you'll get that Maserati because that was...
Do you know what? We were just talking about Ferrari Testarossas. Imagine a Ferrari Testarossa bread van.
Ooh.
I mean, it could be horrendous. But
everything's going to get very hot in the back on account of having
you have a cactus garden in the back.
12-cylinder engine underneath it, but that's okay. Go with it.
It could have that. It could be a testicle rossa bread van-y thing. Chris Rere's bankrolling it.
Yeah, with the Christmas millions / on the beach millions.
But yes, but Rear stipulates this has got to be reliable because I'm going to use it a lot and I will not garage it because Rear's not a car cleaner. He's one of those guys. He's like Chris Harris. He just gets in and drives it.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
he feels the car and he talks about the car passionately, but he's not interested in cleaning it.
Yeah, no,
so it's always going to have mud up the arches.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's good. Obviously, a big Pet Shop Boys fan, and I quite like String. He's all right, that's a good stuff. But I'm going to go with someone you just mentioned, Brian Ferry, because he was born in County Durham, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm thinking late 80s, or mid 90s for that matter. But I would get late 80s. Ferry wants a car that reflects his personal style. I'm on the phone to Jaguar.
Oh, yeah.
XJS.
Oh, late one.
2, yeah. Well, yeah, late, yeah, getting towards late, I suppose, aren't they? But 2 versions, both inspired by Brian's love of a tuxedo.
Oh, the tuxedo is...
So there's a black one with a white interior, and there's a white one with a black interior. Either way, it sort of has an elegant stripe up the middle, not a Shelby double stripe, a single stripe that somehow mimics a shirt visible beneath a dinner jacket.
Like a silken finish shirt.
Imagine if it was silken finish.
Oh.
And the black one is called the Brian. And the white one is called the Ferry.
Oh.
And they are unmatched in their elegance. Quiet, whispering sophistication.
Yes.
So the white one has a black interior, obviously, as well. So it's lovely.
Yeah.
An upgraded stereo system.
Yes. British, obviously.
A cigar. Do you think it's got a cigar? Do you think Brian Ferry smokes cigars? I don't know. Maybe not.
Might go cigs, though.
He probably does smoke cigs.
He definitely did, because on an album cover he had a tab
dispenser in the dashboard. That's perfect. It probably would appeal to a certain Jaguar customer.
Yeah.
And some kind of drinks trolley arrangement thing sits between the back seats, but can maybe slide forward.
Oh,
he's not condoning drinking and driving, but it's just that useful for maybe for a passenger, and also when he stops, he can make himself something.
Yes,
as a sort of little preloading before he goes into an elegant party.
Also, what about a falconry glove?
Why?
Because driving gloves are a bit wanky.
Oh, okay.
He's gone, I want a different take.
Yeah.
I want Brian's take on the driving glove.
And he only needs one because he drives one-handed because it's an XJS. It's an auto.
It's just, he's in deep.
Very light steering.
And he's got a SIG on the go.
Exactly. And he is palming it everywhere.
With a falconry glove.
With a falconry glove that gets real purchase.
Oh, gosh.
And he's got a SIG on the go in his other hand.
Oh.
The ashtray is one of the upgrades as well. It's even bigger than normal.
Or it has a drain hole at the bottom which goes directly down onto the road.
I was just going to suggest the same thing. No, it's more sophisticated than that. It's got some kind of tubing and using some sort of vacuum effect that I've yet to devise. It sucks the ash in and then it pipes it away.
Like an aeroplane toilet.
Because if you just made a hole at the bottom of the ashtray, that's going to introduce road noise, and that's simply unacceptable in either the Brian or the Ferry. They are refined cars.
Yeah. This is great. I love
think
this.
Also, can we work with some Italian shoe manufacturer? Leather-plated alloy wheels.
Leather-plated?
Well, you got to make them of leather. They don't have the structural integrity. It's the wheel underneath, but it's got a leather finisher on it, just to reflect Brian's excellent
What about
shoes.
if it was US spec and someone put it on wires, but they were leather sleeved wires?
That's what I'm thinking. You sleeve the alloys in leather, but beautiful Italian leather.
Wow.
It really reflects Brian's personal style.
I'm I want to see this now. I want to see this thing take shape.
So do I. We can but dream.
Mark Knopfler's going to have an armbandy interior. You know, like those beautiful Italian, early Lamborghini interiors, which had ribbed.
Oh yes,
ribbed leather.
Yeah.
Mark Knopfler would have ribbed terry toweling of tricolore.
What if his car? I don't know what Knopfler's car would be, but
he's Northeast man.
I don't know. He always feels like he's quite no nonsense.
Merc.
Maybe, but either way, it's got a headband which actually limits visibility to a horrible degree. But the upper cabin has a headband around it to absorb sweat. Means you can't open the doors. It has to frameless doors, and you have to put the window down before you can open the door.
Oh,
because of the Knopfler sweatband.
Knopfler would go for, I reckon, Merc SEC or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that was an excellent
We've
question,
over-answered
Alex.
that.
Thank you. Alex also wanted to say, as a member of the audience for our live show last month in County Durham, just a massive shout out to the staff at the Car Barn and Aston Workshop for being so welcoming and happy to chat, even though I'm not yet in a position to buy one of their cars. And to guys called Tom and Will from Yorkshire who provided great company in the pub before your show. Thanks, Alex. It's very sweet of you to say. And we would also like to say thank you to the Aston Workshop and Car Barn for having us last month.
Yeah, they were lovely. And we will be back.
Yes. But for now, we have to wrap this up. Do keep your questions coming. hello@smithandsniff.com is the email address. We do love hearing from you. If you mark your email Otosot as the start of the subject line, then it helps us to find questions when we need them. We'll do this all again next Friday. Normal show on Monday. Until then, goodbye.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.